Hello. Arigato gozaimasu. I'm very pleased that you're here. I'm going to talk a little bit about Japan. That's why I'm saying those words. And I just came back from Japan 2 weeks ago. But I want to thank you. I'm actually drinking champagne because you heard I had a champagnerie in Brazil. In Florianopolis, a place you should absolutely visit. I thank the 25 people that are here. I was invited as a panel guest. So the 45 minutes scenario is terrifying. So Henning over here in the front, Design Hotels, has offered me champagne. So thank you very much. And I'm hearing my voice, which is absolutely horrible. So I'm going to just move on. And this is not my slide, but it's the journey to successful travel, yes. And I said a journey towards successful travel because actually we have to, we are seeing a shift right now with our top clients in terms of where they want to go and how they want to live their experience. We are preferred partners, you will see later, with Four Seasons, Rosewood Hotels, Mandarin Hotels. But what we want to say is that we're at a time where we want to experience a little bit of champagne in a plastic cup, but also experience deeper experiences with culture. So I'm going to go over a few things that I find really interesting right now. That I've experienced since January, so it's very fresh. Yes, I'm again, Atelier Voyage is a company, my business partner is in the front row, the 26th person here today. And Gerard Lindemeyer, who invited me from Brazil, stole me from the champagnerie, and said, let's do something together. So what the idea was, is I come from architecture, but I also did 2 masters in fine arts. So I said, if we do this, we're going to do this differently. We're going to do this with a sense of culture, a sense of place. And that's what we did. We started in Düsseldorf in Germany. For those who are not from Germany, it's in the Nordrhein-Westfalen area. And then we moved to Munich because my business partner is from Munich, is from Bavaria. So we decided we moved there. But I live between an airport and Munich and Canada. So I live in Montreal, near Montreal for 5 months a year. So we go to the next slide. I have to do it. It's self-serve. Sorry. No, it's not a problem. So again, this is my first time presenting a long speech. So I thank all of you. And Frau Thompson here from Nobis Hotel Copenhagen will be coming on stage to do a little bit of a lambada with me later, if you stay around. So there's a bonus. And champagne maybe from the Design Hotels, but I don't know.
If you give me that, I'll take it.
This?
No. Yeah,
thank you so much. No. My drink. Okay, so the top 5 trends. The idea is I try to present it very briefly. I'll try to be brief. Wellness on the run. It's literally wellness on the run, meaning wellness is no longer just staying 14 days in one place, enjoying a cure. It's also wellness while being active, because the world, especially Germany, but the world in general, is getting very fit, and people want to do stuff with their holiday that is going to bring them wellness in every sense of the word and bring it back home. So it's not just about 2 weeks, it's actually very active. And you'll see 2 examples. Rare experiences, it's obvious. Japan is back on popular demand. This is actually what we're experiencing. We have clients in Germany, but also across English-speaking countries, because of our company does everything bilingually. So we're trying to we also have clients from the US, but we feel that there's a trend going back to Japan, and I'll cover that a little bit. Love is in the air. It's just a little bit about the types of clients we have. And then cruises built for accessing spots where no other ship can. It's again this idea. Let's move on. Let's move to the next slide. Okay, so wellness on the run. The Ranch Malibu. I don't know if you know it. It doesn't matter. The idea is it's to show you the kind of schedule clients are willing to go through right now and pay quite a bit of money. And we're talking about Hollywood stars, but we're also talking about clients from Munich, Frankfurt, and Hamburg, and Berlin, that are willing to go all the way to wake up at 5:30 in the morning, and do a morning stretch, followed by a daily mountain trekking program, and then they do a 4.5-hour trekking in the morning. So they're paying quite a bit of money to do something quite basic, because we have these beautiful mountains in Bavaria as well. Hello. And so I just wanted to show you how obsessive wellness is coming. So for us, it's a very important part of our business, but I think for all of us, it's important to know that this is happening. And they have done a really good cooperation with Rosa Alpina, which is in the Dolomites, a beautiful place on earth, close by. And they do the same program there. So they are also starting to realize that one place is not enough. They need to bring those clients who have done Ranch Malibu once a year, they need to bring them to other places where they're going to enjoy the same type of experience, but discovering a new landscape, a new culture. And actually, Alta Badia is very good for food. I'm sorry, you think I drink a lot, but this is my first, I just came from Ayurveda, so this is my first drink in 2 months. So that's why I'm affected. Then Ayurveda Malabar House. We'll have photos of both coming up. This I did just now. Actually, Ayurveda Malabar House is a concept from a German owner with his wife from Spain. And they are there since 30 years, and they decided, why not do a few houses where you can do treatments from one house to the next. So you're not bored. After 4 days, you're moving to the next property. So it's quite a nice concept where you meet a doctor at the first house, and then they set up a program for you, and the chef that is at every house will prepare a meal. This is not a very high budget property, so it is accessible to all. The Ranch Malibu, as I said, Hollywood stars, we're talking about another figure. If we win the lottery, we all go there. But Ayurveda Malabar House is something more approachable. Intrepid Travel, then it's a really low budget. We're talking about 1,600 euros for 14 days. Very affordable. So this is a few images of the ranch at Malibu. So you can see that the infrastructure is very nice here on the left. The pool, the structures, the rooms are unbelievable. But the program is very strong. And actually, some of the trainers who I've met personally in Las Vegas, this guy over here, is like a Hollywood star trainer. So it's like sex appeal without an end. You just really want to meet him, and you really want to train with him or with her, because they're all beautifully sexy in this property. So next slide. And then this was the Malabar Escapes program that me and Gerald Lindemeyer here on first row did in January, as we do Ayurveda every year to try and keep slim, but also get back to letting that go, and also just being more holistic in the terms of philosophical views, because they actually give you books, you read, you talk to people that are super interesting in these properties. So here I gave an example of 7-day therapy, but up to 14. And you go from one house to the other, and it's unbelievable, because these houses are historical homes in India, in Kerala. And we have other properties, of course, in Himalayas, in Sri Lanka. You can do a lot of Ayurveda, but I found this very interesting because you are moving while doing the therapy, so there's not a boring moment, it's nie langweilig. And also, one day is off, and you go on a boathouse, and you discover the actual local culture of the people on a boathouse, but still with that same Ayurveda diet. So you're really keeping a continuity throughout, which is very nice. Next slide. This was to show, this is the cheap version, but it's also the fitness version. I think I'm going to do it because I've been 10 years in this luxury market, and I feel like it's time for me to go on a backpacking, which I used to do, and I miss it. It's nice to be always surrounded with Four Seasons and the big brands. Sorry if they're here, but it's also nice to be back grounded and meet the villagers, which I'll talk about a little bit later, and they've developed now products where you are in luxury, but you're also meeting the nomads and meeting the families and not being just in pure luxury, not the bling bling. Anyone falling asleep in the front can have my glass of champagne. Is it okay for now? Yes, okay. So here we are in Iran. I found it interesting that they have done a tour that is actually lasting 16 days. So you gotta be pretty fit, but there's other options of shorter rides where at the end you take a flight back to Tehran and then you go home. So you can do this full on, or you can do it a little bit quicker. And I found that nice. Some photos are also they do it also in Vietnam, Thailand, all over the world. So intrepid travel for those who have no money and are between 20 and 65 years old. This is what you need to do because it's wonderful. Next. Then rare experiences, I'm going to not read all of this, but it's just to talk about two concepts that are revolutionary, and a third one that is based from Route du Sud, that is called 700,000 hours, which is the time we live on Earth, except if you take drugs and other things. But 700,000 hours is the time you live on planet Earth in terms of hours we spend. So La Route du Sud, the owner is French, from Paris, and he developed La Route du Sud, which I'll talk about, but he also developed this new concept, which is opening in 3 months and is going around the world. Every 6 months, you're experiencing a new destination with his concept. Next slide, okay. So, next slide. No, sorry, back, sorry, it's a wrong presentation. So, the 11 experience is happening in Colorado, in France, in the Bahamas, and it's an owner that made his fortune by the age of 40. And he decided he loves fishing, he loves climbing, he loves hiking, so he created his own set of hotels, and they're exclusive. So what's nice about this is that you're alone with your family and friends. What's not nice is that it costs a fortune. Actually, they came to our office in Munich yesterday, and I was a little bit shocked. It's costing, Gerard Lindemeyer, who's our price specialist, how much is it costing per? It's between 1,500 per night up to 2,500 depending on the property. And you have to book it exclusively. So if you're, they need to book all the rooms. So you have to have a party of 10 to 36 people. So we're talking exclusive, very exclusive. A little bit limited for the German market because the German market doesn't travel like that. That's very American. And actually their first market are Americans and people from the UK, but they're trying. And actually the salesperson was coming for the first time in Germany to talk to us. But we love the concept because of what's coming next. The next slide, Ian. Okay, so this is what I just came back from exactly 4 days ago. I've put 3 photos. This is a wrong presentation, by the way. It's supposed to see other photos here. But it's not, doesn't matter. Here you see, it's a concept around 5 houses around south of Morocco, south of the Atlas Mountains. And what's interesting about this is that the king now, that is there, always had problems, and his father and his grandfather, always had problems keeping these people together because south of Morocco, they call it the anarchists. They're the anarchists. They never wanted to follow the king. So this incredible Parisian who has a lot of courage decided to build these incredible homes in the middle of villages where there's never going to be any tourists because they don't accept tourists. But he made a deal with the head of the village. In one of the villages, it's actually run only by women. So it's a matriarchy. And their husbands are moved to Casablanca, miles and miles away. And that means that they just accept these clients. And what's beautiful about this, it's actually more affordable. It's costing exactly 1,000 euros per night per person. So we're still expensive. But what's nice, you can travel alone and you'll have your butler, your chauffeur, your jeep. Even if you're one person, they will exclusively keep those homes for you. You can be maximum 6 persons. So what's nice about this is that if you feel like you've divorced, you left your husband or wife behind, you want to do your trip for yourself, for your spiritual self, and meet the local people, the anarchists, you can go to southern Morocco and do this for 1,000 euros a night. If you have a family and friends and you want to keep them, you invite them on this trip and it still costs 1,000 euros a night. So it's a very nice concept. And next slide. This is where it's going because this owner had such a success with this story with 5 houses around southern Morocco that he decided to do what is unspeakable in the luxury market. I've been in this market for 11 years. It's the first wandering hotel in the world, which means it's not a pop-up hotel. It is something very much deeper. He's going to start in Apulia, of all places, southern Italy. But then he is going to go to Cambodia, to Colombia, to Brazil, and to Japan. So he's going to do every 6 months, he's going to invite for the same, we're talking the same concepts, €1,000 a night. All inclusive, by the way. Huh? You're never going to have to buy a drink, a champagne, food. You have a chef there. A butler is also part of the program. So programming your day, surprising you with places you've never seen before. So this is truly interesting. Atelier Voyage is actually going to do this with them and investing in this project because we really believe in it. And I think you're going to read it in Vogue and Madame and all the magazines out there and internationally, because it's a superb product done with care and love, which is leading to my next slide. Thank you. Japan. I particularly love it because I used to be an architect, and I love it also as an artist. But it's a very special place on earth. So if something you can take out of this meeting is go to Japan before you get sick, because this place is unbelievable. It is absolutely the time to go as well, because they have gone through a tough time. There was, people are always afraid of earthquakes, tsunamis, etc., but it can happen anytime. But it's also a very, it's a moment in Japan where they're very open to foreigners. It wasn't the case maybe 25 years ago, but now it's a different story. So if you go to Tokyo, you can actually get along in the subway on your own, because the subways are very bilingual. It wasn't the case 20 years ago. And it's the same in other parts of Japan, where you can meet the young people under 30 will speak English. Broken English, but they will speak English. So I would highly suggest it. I just here highlighted a few places that I love. Kanazawa is what they call the real Japan. It's on the other side of Tokyo. So before you had to take a flight, which I did, but now you can take the fast-speed train at 500 kilometers an hour, and you're there in a few hours, and then you can go to Kyoto and Kyoto-Tokyo. So you can do this in 6 days, as you can take a month, but I would suggest 6 days minimum, which I did now, 6 days. But I didn't do Kanazawa. I went to Hokkaido, which is the middle column. Hokkaido is a ski place that everyone has discovered from Australia to US, but the Germans are not there yet. And what's interesting about Hokkaido is that they get snow every day, because it's by the Japan Sea. So you get fresh snow every day. So that means the powder snow is unbelievable. For those who ski, you know what I mean. And what's also beautiful, it's not very high. So you have beautiful Japanese trees, very delicate trees with a lot of snow on them. So it's a very pretty landscape. Next slide. So these are actual photos I took 3 weeks ago. You can see Gerard and I with our skis. We were really escorted by wonderful people. And it's just love at first sight. Japan, it's not my first trip to Japan, but it's every time it's a discovery, because the food, the culture, the gastronomy, everything is beautiful. If you're a sensitive person and you like details and an obsession for perfection. Next. Love and care is in the air. This is a little bit langweilig, so I don't know what I'm going to do, but this was a little bit about Atelier Voyage and our client type. I was going to say that 40 and up is about our average, because that's when they start to have money, or money enough to spend it on a trip that is quality. So that's the only message I want to say here. We can move on to the next slide. Okay, this is 3 examples of the ships that you can, we think are the best in the world for cruises. Again, in the same concept as 11 Experience, something very true to a very private experience. From very affordable, the middle column, La Flâneuse du Nil, I highly recommend it. Egypt is back. It's actually in Egypt. Nobody wanted to go to Egypt, but it's back now. And it's a private, you can exclusively have it, or you can rent a cabin. and you're up to 14 people. And the 14 people, I can guarantee, are extraordinary people, because there you really, the boat just goes to places where no other boats can go, and you are alone in Egypt right now because everyone is afraid. And that's the kind of advice we give to our clients, because people tend to read the press. We love the press, but sometimes they do exaggerate things. So if you want to do a trip, go to La Flâneuse du Nil, and you'll be amazed. True North is in Australia and Papua New Guinea, so that's, we're talking about a bigger budget, but you can rent a cabin, so it is still affordable. Silolona, then it's the uber luxury, what we do sell from time to time to our billionaires, but it's not something that I will do, that I'm interested in, because it's an exclusive trip and I have to have 14 family members on board, and I'd rather do that only at Christmas. So next. So True North, I just have this one photo. They started in 1972, the year I was born. So I thought it was symbolic. But it's also because the crew is very into diving, very close to the experiential diving experiences. So if you're a diver, a fisherman, anyone who likes water, you have to go here, because the team is very connected to their element, which is all of Northern Australia and Papua New Guinea. And so you have a real experience. The crazy owners decided after a few years, after 20 years, they decided that they wanted an helicopter on board. So the ship went from a very small little cute thing to a huge yacht, which allows you to, you see the boat underneath there, which allows you to explore even further. Next. This is La Flâneuse du Nil. Again, a beautiful boat, a typical boat. You see it on the upper left corner. I apologize, because this is not the last presentation, so I'm slightly improvising, but it's okay. Then the rest, you can see how it's set up. It's a very salon, a little bit like Atelier Voyage. We like this atmosphere where you dialogue with people. And actually, when I was on board, was maybe 4 years ago, there was a lot of photographers on board, clients that were there to go deeper into the Egyptian culture, and we were always alone in the temples. So it's still the case, so I highly suggest it. Next. This is Silolona. As you can see already from the setup, we're looking more at a rosewood, kind of a chic, very, very ultra chic. It is up to, I'm forgetting now. There's only up to 10 people are allowed on this ship, and you have a crew of 16. So you have 16 people helping you, and you're 10. So you can imagine, up to 10. You can be 2 if you have the perfect honeymoon. Next. So more pictures of this boat. They have a second one. It's so successful that they've purchased a second boat. So it's a model that people like, this exclusivity, but here we're talking about people who like to private jet it from California to New York. So it's almost unreachable. I don't know if you agree, Gerard, but this is a top level clientele that we have. We call them VIP 1. Next. So this is a little bit more about us in terms of how we conceive our world. So again, the salon atmosphere, the idea of dialogue, which I'm trying to have here, but I'm doing a monologue. The idea is that you can, Ian, anytime.
Yeah, I'll come up.
Okay.
I'll come and join you. Sorry.
We've lost. We've lost one of the VIP guests here, so I cannot dance
Here,
with you.
have a drink. You're doing great.
Okay.
Can I jump in and ask you some questions, or you want to continue with your presentation?
Next slide, which is less text.
Okay. So I'm really interested because, when we had a bit of a phone call so I could sort of get to know you and what your business does, and you're a very small company with like 10 staff, and you've been talking about these amazing experiences and things. How do you find these experiences? Are they things that your customers ring up and they want that, or are you searching for these experiences and bringing them together and packaging them up?
Well, it's a basic matter that sometimes they discover it in terms of we sell it, and then we need to know it, so we have to go there, or we look for it because we feel the need. So it's an easy answer, but at the same time, it's the freedom of having a company for 11 years is that you can really kind of guide your clients. At first, they ask for certain things, like I want to go to Fiji for my honeymoon, I want to go to the Maldives, I want to go to, the typical tour. But then they ask for our advice. They really need new tips, new secrets. That's what I'm sharing with you today, because I think sharing is important.
Yep.
But I feel that some of the things I've said were kind of new, like 700,000 hours. Mm-hmm. Very few people in the world know about it, because I just learned about it last week, and it's something I felt that is representing what we're going towards in the travel industry, which is finding things that are absolutely out of this world, and in terms of experience and quality.
Yep.
But,
So it's interesting, because this word experience is, I think, the most frequently used word of all of today's sort of talks, and every speaker today has touched upon experiences and sort of the importance of experiences. Chris Sampson from the Future Laboratory, in his talk, he talked about this concept of travelers sort of this turning on and off, and there's this sort of binary thing where people, really want to do lots and lots of things and cram things in and have have the experience of a lifetime, but then they also want to turn off and completely disconnect and unwind. And I guess, from you and your experience in, with what your customers, want, are you seeing that trend of like on and off?
There's no right way to travel. I mean, today I'm decided to drink champagne. The other day I want to be on a Ayurveda cure and not drink for 2 months. There's no right or wrong way to travel. So our clients can go from, just sun tanning to being very active. In Bhutan, climbing the highest mountains at 4,200 meters. But there is no right or wrong. I mean, we're not here to judge people. We're not here to tell the clients what to do. Mm-hmm. But there's a tendency, there's more an interest on destination. And once they're there, what these programs allow, and what we allow, is that they can activate their daily routine. So it's so flexible, the 700,000 hour 11 experience, that you can decide the next day I'm going to relax because I'm tired from my walk today, my 7-hour walk, which is not allowed at the Ranch Malibu. It's not allowed. You have to do this intensive program, or in Ayurveda, you have to go through the treatments.
Right.
You have to detox. So we're seeing this flexibility really matching our company.
Yep.
And I think we're going to be ambassadors for this kind of travel. And I think people are going to come to us for this kind of expertise, because you need to understand and have gone there.
Yep.
Otherwise it doesn't work. You cannot express it the same way.
So let's sort of just tap your expertise here. What do you think are the next destinations, maybe for Europeans, I guess, if we've got a European audience, but what are some of the next destinations that people are going to start to see that become the next sort of big thing? Can you give us some tips?
I don't know. No, I really don't know, because I think it's changing so fast. Like the 700,000 hours just appeared, and they are going to Colombia. We know this is a trend. They're going to Brazil. Good luck with that. And they're going to places that are not, that are already on the radar. I think it's about how, I'd love to go to Paris. I love to go to Copenhagen. I love to go, our clients go everywhere from, they love to come to Berlin, mm-hmm. and we book Doucet. They go everywhere they want. People travel. What is important is how they travel. That's what I'm trying to say. There's not a destination. We covered it all.
Yep.
So it's not a destination. You can go to Alaska to see the white bears, but you do that because you have a big budget and you want to impress your nephew. You do that, but it's not just wild and far. Maybe that's missing in my presentation. It can be also a place very close by. You want to go to Regensburg and discover what that means. We advise them on the best places to go where there are not tourist traps, where there's no, where there's going to be the authentic dinner, the authentic owner that cooks by themselves, that is involved with love and care. I think love and care is the key word, mm-hmm. In terms of the dialogue you have with the client and the dialogue you have with the people you meet during the trip. And if that is not offered, then you end up in an hotel with a concierge, and that's okay. We do that. It's 60% of our business, but it's just easier, and it's a safer way to travel. Right. But I'm trying to maybe we should show a video. Maybe that would stop me from talking.
Well, we've
there
got
one video?
How long is your video?
The first video.
Probably-
It's 2 minutes, and then
Yeah.
I'm
So
done.
why don't we watch your video and,
Thank you very
and then
much.
ask the audience if there's any questions? Do I just hit next here? We've got a video here. Okay.
Thank you.
When was the last time that you looked up in wonder? Looked into the eyes of a complete stranger and didn't look down? Replace what you thought you knew with the truth about places, about people, about differences. Took yourself so far from the world that you know. You gave yourself no choice but to be challenged, to be fearless, to be open and curious, and to be kind. Right now, more than ever, this world needs more intrepid people.
It's not our video, but I thought it was very interesting to see. It's exactly what we're talking about. This is a low-budget trip, so everyone can do it. I can do it every day. But I thought it was really symbolizing what travel is about. So you can cry in Berlin, like you can cry in Madrid if you're touched by the food, by the person you're meeting. So that was a message there. This is our office actually in Munich. It represents a little bit what we go for. So again, this is kind of the events we do on about 4 times a year, where we invite clients to meet in a bistro style. So that's the idea, that you get together and you exchange. That's traveling itself. You can travel without moving.
Yeah.
That would be my last words if we are out of time.
We are. We are out of time. But thank you so much for coming along and sharing all of those amazing sort of insights into destinations and experiences. And I guess you're going to stick around after for another champagne.
I just want to thank Annabelle Malker and Lydia Band, who invited me here on a panel discussion. So you owe me a drink. Thank you very much.
I think you did great. Thank you so much. If we can give it up for Gabriel, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.